Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got some War Thunder gameplay on the PC. This is something that has been requested by many of you for a long time now, and it does make a lot of sense. I used to fly a lot more in Battlefield 3, play around with the jets and helicopters all the time, and War Thunder is a flight simulator, although they have integrated tank combat to the game now as well. And I know using the term flight simulator to describe War Thunder might annoy some of the hardcore flight sim fans out there. This is probably one of the most arcadey flight sims I've ever played, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It really allows novice players to get into the flight mechanics very easily and start having fun right from the beginning. As you can see, I'm playing on PC. You can also play this on PS4 and Xbox One, and all you gotta do is point in the direction you want to go. You can line up your sights. It'll even show you how to lead your targets in arcade mode, and it makes it very easy to shoot down other planes, but it also makes it challenging because everybody has this advantage. Now, War Thunder is a completely free-to-play game. You can download it on the PlayStation, you can download it on Steam on PC, and you can play it 100% free. You can unlock all the planes in the game without spending a dime. Obviously, you can speed up this process by spending a little bit of money. You can pay to unlock new planes, get cool new aesthetic upgrades and stuff like that, but you will never get an actual advantage by paying money. Now, when you first get into War Thunder, you can choose a faction. As you can see here, I am playing as the US, although you can pick Germany, Britain, Japan, and the USSR. Each nation will have planes that they historically flew, and the Tier 1 planes are actually earlier planes that were developed early on in the war and not necessarily quite as powerful. So when you first begin the game, you're broken off into tiers. If you only have Tier 1 planes, then you can only play in Tier 1 servers. So it's going to match you up against people who have planes of equal turning capabilities and firepower, so that you're not completely outmatched from the start. And despite this game being very arcadey by nature, they do try and represent each nation's plane's characteristics. For example, the Japanese planes can turn very quickly, but they're also very lightweight when it comes to their armor and how many hits they can take. The US has heavy hitting, high speed fighters, which are great for boom and zoom, which is basically diving in, getting a lot of speed, making your attack, and getting out of there. And as you play as each nation, you'll start to learn lots of characteristics about the planes, and that'll make you a stronger pilot in general. You will know if you have a higher top speed than the enemy that you're going up against, so you have a better chance of outrunning them, or you have a higher turn radius perhaps than your opponent, so you can definitely outturn them in a dogfight. Of course, there's not a lot you can do about getting rammed in War Thunder, and that is probably one of the bigger complaints that I've seen so far while playing this game, is just people going around and ramming other pilots. Without any fear of death, you can invent new aerial tactics that don't really play out in real life as much as they do in video game aerial combat. Now, rather than just throwing everybody into one server and saying, go shoot down the other team, they have airplanes also, there's more complex game modes than that. You can have game modes where it's all about shooting the other team's ground targets and wiping out their ground army. You can have game modes where it's about capturing the enemy team's base by landing on their runways, or you can have game modes where it's about blowing up the other team's enemy base by using bombers and coming in and doing bombing runs. There's a surprising amount of variety to the gameplay in multiplayer, from the types of airplanes that you can pick to the actual types of game modes that you'll be playing. Bombers might be great at taking out enemy bases, but they're not going to be quite as useful in a dogfight only game. And you'll figure out pretty quickly just when it's more important to go for the enemy team's fighters, or perhaps when to go for their ground targets. There's definitely a time and place for each of those tactics. Sometimes you might want to just run as a fighter role to cover the guys on your team that are going for the ground targets. There's definitely a lot of wingman and team-oriented action in this, and I was playing a lot with my brother and a few other people, and we were flying each other's wings and kind of talking team tactics while you play around and getting other fighters off of their tails. What's really cool about this is if somebody's in your squad and you shoot another fighter off their tail, or you help them take down an enemy plane, you actually get additional teamwork points. And that's just kind of a neat way of emphasizing that it's important to stick with your wingman. Now, playing the game and shooting down other players or completing objectives and blowing up ground targets is going to get you experience and in-game currency that's going to allow you to buy new parts for your plane, upgrade the plane, and even research new planes, allowing you to unlock different tiers of aircraft, allowing you to use better planes, faster planes, planes that have higher firepower, but you're also going to be going up against better planes as well. So as you play more, you're going to unlock higher skill levels essentially and be able to play sort of with the big boys. Tier 1 is definitely a good learning experience, It's a lot of fun and you can always come back to it, but it is kind of about progression, and that's definitely where the pay model comes in. If you don't want to spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to upgrade your planes and getting to the next tiers, you can actually spend a little bit of money to help you progress along a bit faster. If you get a premium account, you'll get more XP. You can also buy golden eagles, which you can use to try and generate more experience for unlocking planes a little bit faster. So there's a lot of different ways that you can spend your money in this game. You can also spend your money getting decals and camos and stuff like that for your airplanes. So if you just want some aesthetic upgrades, that's also one thing to do. One of the trickier things about upgrading to a new tier of aircraft is that your tactics can change up pretty drastically. You'll see here I'm using a P-38, which is a very cool airplane. It has a lot of firepower and a lot of speed, but its turn capabilities are pretty garbage. I didn't really know this at the very start. I just kind of jumped into it, tried using it, but the tactics that you're going to have to use to take out aircraft might switch up completely. Different factions are going to have different tactics at different tiers. So the US definitely had a little bit more versatile fighter array early on, and then later on it seemed like it was focusing a little bit more on boom and zoom, which is something that I wasn't quite as used to, and I had to start learning those kinds of tactics. A lot of these dogfights can go on for a while, and it's kind of cool to watch your enemy's planes get chewed up and them lose some of their maneuverability options later on. You can actually shoot off a lot of their aileron controls and stuff like that, so you'll see their maneuverability get reduced as the fight goes on longer. Anyway, I found myself sinking a lot of hours into this game. The gameplay is really fun. It's also highly addictive and fun upgrading your planes and seeing what kind of new planes you can unlock for different factions and stuff like that. I highly recommend this to anybody who's even remotely interested in flying games. This is definitely not the most realistic flight simulator out there, but it's definitely an easy way to get into flying games, and I found myself playing a lot more flight related games as of late. Let me know if you guys would like to see more War Thunder or even more flight sim style games, and I'll definitely be sure to include those in my channel lineup. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.